Welcome to this stroke guideline training course for chairs and vice chairs. You will notice that in this course there is no specific delineation made between the role of chair and that of vice chair. This is because all the roles and responsibilities defined in this course should be performed either 1. Principally by the chair with support and backup from the vice chair as needed, or 2. By both chairs and vice chairs together. So, irrespective of your chair appointment, you can be sure that you will be involved in all aspects of the roles outlined here in some capacity throughout the guideline development process. Let's look at what you'll be learning in this module. Its purpose is to prepare you to perform the role of chair or vice chair and to lead the work of a stroke guideline writing group. At the end of this module, you will be able to understand the roles and responsibilities of an AHA/ASA guideline writing group chair, including enumerating the attributes of effective chairs, identifying chairs' leadership tasks, identifying the writing and review tasks of chairs, and detailing the role of chairs during peer review and derivative development. In addition, you will be able to support and direct the implementation of AHA/ASA guideline methodology, process, and timeline. And you will advocate for and be open to utilizing guideline development systems and technologies to produce leading-edge, up-to-date guidelines. This training module is in 2 parts. First, we'll review your leadership role as subject matter expert, methodology and process advocate, team leader, and committee chair. In this first part of the module, we will also cover the importance of availability and responsiveness and the utilization of your technological and staff resources. In the second part of the course, we will look at the writing and reviewing tasks you need to complete as a chair or vice chair, as well as your role in the development of guideline derivative products. Let's begin with your leadership role. As a chair or vice chair, you will require certain attributes to be able to perform your role. You must have the experience needed to be a strong team leader, a subject matter expert, and a consensus builder. You will need skills in building strong working relationships with the other members of the guideline writing group, and you should recognize and accept the requirement to be available to stroke guideline staff on an as-needed basis. Lastly, guideline writing group chairs need to be an advocate for the methodology and processes which underpin stroke guideline development. Let's look at each of these attributes in more detail. As a subject matter expert, you must have superior skill in and knowledge of the topic of the guideline. This will include having a detailed knowledge of the evidence base and other deep subject matter expertise. Also, it is important that you command the respect of your colleagues in the field. As an advocate for stroke guideline methodology and process, you will typically have previous experience as a member of a recent stroke guideline writing group. As a chair or vice chair, you must ensure that the guideline section authors follow AHA/ASA's class of recommendation, level of evidence methodology, and modular knowledge chunk format when producing their material, all while complying with the SOC-approved guideline timeline. These processes and methodology are reviewed in detail in the training module AHA/ASA Guideline Development Training, Methodology and Process. Your relationships with industry status and that of your guideline writing group colleagues is of particular importance. Guideline writing group chairs can have no relevant relationships with industry, i.e., relationships with corporations or other organizations which work in an area related to the guideline topic. Vice chairs may have relevant relationships with industry. However, they and other members of the guideline writing group must abstain from accepting, taking on new industry relationships for the duration of the guideline development process. The importance of the non-disclosure and confidentiality agreement cannot be overstated. Guideline writing group chairs and other members must sign and abide by this commitment to keep all guideline discussions and material confidential until publication. Contravening this agreement is grounds for dismissal from the writing group. Your team leadership function is important in all aspects and phases of guideline development, and therefore previous AHA/ASA leadership experience is a prerequisite to the role of guideline writing group chair. The tasks of setting up the group will be your first leadership task and will include identifying clinicians and laypersons with the appropriate expertise to serve on the guideline writing group, developing the guideline outline, scope, and assigning author and reviewer roles to guideline writing group members. As noted earlier, throughout the guideline development process, strong team leadership skills are needed in the role of stroke guideline chair. They must ensure correct guideline processes and methodology are followed by group members, that phases are completed on time, any delays are addressed promptly, and solutions implemented. As the team leader, you will also support liaisons in providing progress updates to stroke committees and external guideline partners within the parameters of the non-disclosure and confidentiality agreement. Previous experience in the role of committee chair is also required for a guideline writing group chair. You will work with stroke guideline staff to facilitate and chair group meetings such as the kickoff meeting and the consensus conference. A particularly important element of the committee chair role is to commit to and drive a collaborative and consensus-based process among the guideline writing group members throughout guideline development. Chairs and vice chairs are required to proactively lead discussions on the scientific questions to be addressed in the guideline, as well as to chair the 2-hour weekly Zoom meetings during the early months of evidence review and recommendation drafting. If you've been nominated to serve as the chair or vice chair of an AHA/ASA stroke guideline writing group, you're probably committed to excellence, in high demand, and involved in numerous other challenging and time-consuming projects. While there are phases of guideline development which fall primarily to staff, other phases require extensive chair involvement. Having the ability to commit considerable time to emails or meetings with staff and your writing group colleagues, and to independent writing, editing assignments at critical times is of paramount importance. Please commit to being available and responsive and to completing assignments in a timely manner so that guideline development can progress according to the prescribed timeline. AHA has been producing clinical practice guidelines for decades, and in order to maintain guideline quality and improve timeliness in a modern world, we have recently transitioned various phases of guideline development to an online platform. This system allows for primary and secondary authors to 1. Summarize scientific articles and generate evidence tables. 2. Write and edit their recommendations and other elements of their sections. And 3. Complete recommendation, balloting, and manuscript sign-off. Since the online platform contains the most recent versions of a guideline manuscript, peer reviewers also use this system to conduct their review and submit their comments. Guideline writing group chairs then provide responses to each comment and make manuscript revisions all online without the need for separate and laborious spreadsheets or Word documents. Therefore, an ability to learn and work with online systems is needed for chairs and members of guideline writing groups. AHA/ASA stroke guideline staff are key to many tasks and phases of the guideline, as well as critical to keeping guideline writing group members on task and on time. However, staff rely heavily on chairs for support, guidance, and assistance at various times. An ability to work collaboratively with your staff guideline advisor throughout the 14 to 16 months of guideline development is critical to success. Now, let's address the second part of this training module, writing and reviewing responsibilities. In the same way that primary and secondary authors have writing assignments, chairs do as well. The top 10 take-home messages are the first section of the guideline and will be the first element that readers will see. This section should identify key guideline themes, substantive changes to recommendations since the last guideline on this topic was published, and other issues which the chairs deem of key importance. These top 10 take-home messages are your first writing assignment. You will also write the guideline introduction, which should cover disease incidence, distribution patterns, and other disease-specific issues. Chairs also write the scope of the guideline, noting what topics are and are not included and why. Finally, a short abstract of less than 200 words is needed at publication for use by PubMed and other search engines. Chairs' reviewing responsibilities extend throughout the guideline development process. They start at the beginning of the weekly meeting cycle, with chairs conducting a review of primary authors' evidence tables and draft recommendations a week prior to each meeting. After the weekly meetings are over, chairs must also conduct the following reviews: authors' draft section content during development of the first draft manuscript, the edited and refined second draft manuscript for the consensus conference, wording and content of all recommendations during the consensus conference, the edited third manuscript prior to recommendation balloting and peer review, comments, feedback from the peer review committee, the edited fourth manuscript following peer review comment resolution, the edited fifth manuscript prior to guideline writing group manuscript sign-off. Peer review for stroke guidelines is now conducted by a peer review committee. Guideline writing group members nominate potential peer reviewers who have appropriate expertise to review each topic. SOC-appointed peer review committee chairs then select peer reviewers from the guideline writing group's nominee list, as well as other potential candidates. Each peer reviewer reviews the draft guideline on the web-based system, focusing on specific topics as needed, and then submits their comments online. Finally, the peer review committee chairs review all peer reviewer comments and develop a short report on key themes. After this report is submitted to the guideline writing group chairs, they will review and respond to every comment received and make all edits to the manuscript which are needed using the web-based platform. To conclude this training module, we will briefly discuss what AHA refers to as guideline derivatives. These are supporting products such as clinical slide decks, education modules, pocket guides, and patient resources which are developed to promote the visibility of the guideline among AHA/ASA's many constituencies and raise the profile of the guideline among clinicians to encourage and support implementation of guideline recommendations, thereby enhancing quality of care for patients. Derivatives are critical to the wide dissemination of guideline recommendations, and chairs may be involved in groups who develop these derivatives, may review draft derivatives developed by others, or do both. You have now reached the end of this training module for chairs of guideline writing groups. While the work will take up numerous hours of your time over the course of 14 to 16 months of guideline development, it is a very satisfying role, and with the support from the stroke guideline staff, the process will progress smoothly.